Hello, everybody. This is Bob Jackson from Walt Disney World's Port Orleans Riverside Resort, giving a big shout out to all his friends listening to the WDW Today podcast. I perform Wednesday through Saturday, and the show starts at 8:30 there at Port Orleans Riverside. Come on out. We'll be saving you a seat.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, June 29th, 2009, and this is episode 584 of WDW Today. I am Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
What a great live show we had last night, huh?
Oh, it was fantastic. Great opportunity to raise a lot of money last night.
They are great. Our listeners are really great.
Oh, yeah. Except for Eliopolis, but the rest, awesome.
You know, hey, I can't be all perfect.
Fabulous.
Take the good with the bad, right?
That's true. But he's a good-looking guy, so, you know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all.
Joining us also on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Will you stop this foolishness?
Which foolishness would you like to see?
Get
out of here.
Muppets.
And also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, I got my wife the new iPhone. She loves it. And guess what the first question she asked me was? When is Len coming up with an iPhone app for touringplans.com?
We're working on it. It's complicated, but we're doing a wait time application for it first.
Very good.
I would have thought her first question is, where's the Live 365 app?
I thought her first question would have been, what's Len's number? But okay, whatever.
I thought her first question was going to be, where's the linebacker?
Well, because we're very timely on all our episodes, we are going to be discussing July 4th. And actually, this idea was spawned, I guess, by one of our listeners, Zoltan, who wrote and said, will you be doing a show about July 4th this year? Yes, we will. I'll be there that weekend, July 2nd through 5th, since I'll be sworn in as an American citizen in the Magic Kingdom on July 3rd. How cool is that?
No way. How cool is that? He'll be a citizen first of the Magic Kingdom.
Wow.
Because everyone knows American citizenship radiates out from the place at which you get inducted.
That's right.
Wow.
You're right. Anyhow, is there any advice about where to go on July 4th, which fireworks to see, etc., besides stay home? I'm counting on you, wise men, and Miss Fabulous. Thanks. So
Matt, didn't you just cajole the Walt Disney Company into actually putting fireworks in the studios on July 4th this year?
Yeah, well, you know what pull I have over there.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I was actually checking the Disney World website and I didn't see it on there yet. But evidently there are now there are fireworks in 3 parks: Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney's Hollywood Studios. So let's talk about July 4th touring. Now, Scopa, when someone says to you, I'm going to Disney World July 4th, what instantly jumps in your head?
Wake up with the chickens. They need to get up and slop the hogs, feed the chickens, or take the eggs or whatever, and get to the Magic Kingdom as early as possible. The 3 or 4 times I've been there on July 4th, I've noticed something very, very interesting. I noticed this when I was standing right near the teacups in Fantasyland. It was about 10:30 in the morning, and I looked around and I thought, wow, it's almost like it is when it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. That's how thick the crowds were. So by 10:30 on July 4th, several times I've noticed that the crowds just are there. So they just swell so quickly during the morning. So the first thing that comes to mind, Matt, is you got to get there early, especially if you're really, really focusing on riding the attractions, especially the headliners. If you're not there from the time the gates are open, then good luck.
Certainly, let me give you the schedule here. On the Magic Kingdom on July 4th, there'll be a special show at 9 p.m. and it'll also feature 2 performances of Spectrum Magic that night. At 10:30 and at 12:30. Epcot will have we'll have regular illuminations and then a holiday tag. There you go. That'll, of course, illuminations at 9 o'clock. Hollywood Studios will have a special 4th of July fireworks at 9 o'clock. And you've got a Fantasmic show at 10:30.
Matt, the fireworks that are at the studios, where are they showing that from? Are they showing that from behind the Great Movie Ride?
Yes, but it's not. I know where you're going.
It's not Sorcery of the Sky. I know that.
No, yeah, there's no inflatable Mickey. I assume it's gonna be the same show. I saw it last year. It was kind of short. It was like about 10 minutes long, and yeah, so it's interesting. Let's talk about July 4th tournaments. I've got some interesting. I experienced July 4th for the first time last year. I went to Hollywood Studios for July 4th. Spent all day over there last year, and but let's talk first about the other parks. And I think the Magic Kingdom and Epcot are always the parks people think about when you're thinking about July 4th and spending your time in there. And Scope, you already talked about getting there early. I mean, Len, what kind of crowds are we talking about on July 4th in these parks?
So it'll be one of the more crowded days of the year, although not as crowded as Christmas or New Year's. Expect waits in the 100, 130, 140 minutes in the Magic Kingdom during the peak waits. During the day, and expect long lines for most of the attractions, and if you don't have a dining reservation now, you probably won't get one.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be pretty tough for you to score a dining reservation somewhere, especially in the parks. I mean, the resorts have a little better luck with it, but it's going to be very, very crowded over there. Now, typically, let's talk about closings. A lot of people always worry about that, how closings affect the parks. And what we're talking about is at a certain point in the day, the theme parks will close to capacity, but it's not so cut and dry. It's not like they just close the gates and are like, well, that's it. No one else can get in here.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Scope, do you want to talk about that?
From what I have been told and from what I have observed is that for the Magic Kingdom, the toll plaza will, in fact, very likely close around 4 o'clock. They will not let any more cars in the Ticket and Transportation Center, especially if it's at a certain capacity. They really keep track as to the number of cars in the parking lot, and they're very careful. They also keep a very close watch on the numbers in the Magic Kingdom. As they get higher and higher, they'll do things like add another train on the Walt Disney World Railroad, but 4 o'clock. If you're not in the theme park at 4 o'clock, it's really going to be tough to be in there. And I would suggest that after 2 o'clock, if you haven't left for the theme park, and if you haven't thought about using Disney transportation, then I think you're going to be in trouble. One of the things that I think people should think about is using Disney transportation after 4 o'clock.
Very cool. So what are the different stages of closure? So like if you're coming from off-site, right? The first thing that the first type of closure might be where they just stop letting people into the Magic Kingdom parking lot, right?
Right.
That's right. They're going to close it off first to first it'll be resort guests, non-annual pass holders. And then they cut out the annual pass holders, and then they finally cut out everybody to do it. But they do reopen the park. It's not like that's it for their whole day. I mean, certainly if the crowds let up a little bit, they'll start letting people back in. It's usually what happens. Usually like mid-afternoon, like Scopa mentioned, they close it off, and then like sometime later they'll reopen it again, depending on how crowds move and everything.
So it goes people who are off-site get cut out first, and who gets cut out second?
I think it's annual pass holders who are then next, like off-site annual pass holders, like myself, for instance.
Off-site annual pass holders. Then what's the third group?
And then it would be resort guests. So everybody basically now is all cut out.
So I know one of the criteria is if you've already been in a theme park, you get preference among people who haven't been in a theme park that day.
Right,
so I guess people who have, in the rationale being, if you've already burned a day on your ticket, you get priority over people who haven't. Because if you were to shut out the people who've already been in a park for part of a day, then it's a waste of money for them.
Yeah. I also want to mention that on July 3rd, actually, they're going to be showing the fireworks also. The same fireworks that they are going to be showing at the Magic Kingdom. They'll be showing it again in the Magic Kingdom on July 3rd. So you have 2 days, really, to try to sneak that in.
Yes. Great idea.
Scopa, I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you.
I was going to say, do we know what the capacity is for the Magic Kingdom? I'm thinking 45,000, but I'm not sure.
Oh, way more than that. An average day is 42. So what I've heard
60.
Is it 65?
It's more than that. So they've had almost 100,000 in the park, but for practical reasons, they don't like it to get above 70 now.
Yeah, interesting. Now, I think it's safe to say, I think you guys would all agree that the Magic Kingdom and Epcot, in that order, would be the most popular parks for July 4th in terms of people trying to get in to see the fireworks, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I spent July 4th last year at the studios, and really at 6 o'clock p.m. and the fireworks were at 9 o'clock. At 6 o'clock p.m. at the studios, it was a very slow day. I thought I walked on Toy Story a couple times. Tower really didn't have a line at all. I really felt I didn't reverse that actually. I walked on Tower a couple times, and I had a very short waist for Toy Story. And I think that park definitely gets overlooked. So if you're looking for 4th of July fireworks, but you're not, interested in being a sardine, the studios might be a really good option for you in terms of kind of still getting the July 4th feel, but not dealing with the huge crowds over there. Certainly that's something you might want to keep in mind if you're looking for something over there.
Hey, Matt, I've watched Sorcery in the Sky from the studios parking lot, and it's a great you have a great view of it. I mean, you won't be immersed in the audio, but you can see everything really well from the parking lot, and you're already there for your car, and you can really get away really fast.
Awesome. So it's like a drive-in, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a good tip. Certainly, even if you just wanted to go park your car at the studios and like kind of walk to the gate area, not actually go into the park, you could definitely see the fireworks from over there without really committing yourself to the crowds of the park. Certainly, if we're talking about spending the day though in a park, Len, talk about touring the parks. If let's say you pick the Magic Kingdom or regardless of the parks, really talk a little bit about strategy in terms of navigating your way through the parks through that day. Which attractions you want to hit, do's and don'ts, those kinds of things.
Well, I think you definitely want to have a touring plan. Any of the touring plans that we've ever discussed on the show or that are in the book would be appropriate. The big thing is that, I mean, the challenge, right, is going to be that you can't leave the park for a midday break because you might not be able to get back in, right? So that's a worst case scenario. So the key then is going to be finding really good places to rest inside the parks. And I think we've done an episode on that, right? So So the wiki will probably have that. We can throw in the show notes. But for example, in the Magic Kingdom, there's the movie theater and the exposition hall, which is a great place to relax, and it's air conditioned and dark, and 40-some empty seats. But in each park, there's usually one or two good places where you can rest inside, in air conditioning, where the kids can stretch out, and you can get snacks. So the Land Pavilion, the downstairs of the Land Pavilion by Sunshine Seasons is great in Epcot.
Hey, Len, 2009 is kind of unique in the Magic Kingdom because this year for July 4th, Space Mountain and the TTA are closed. So how is that going to affect things in your mind?
There are so many people in the park that they would have overwhelmed and the attractions, even if Space Mountain would have been open. Space Mountain processes between 1,800 and let's say 2,000 people an hour. So they're really just going to go somewhere else. And at this point, they're going to be primarily in lands other than Tomorrowland because there's not much else in Tomorrowland. My guess is that if it's hot, you'll see more people on Splash Mountain because it's a water ride, things like that. More people gravitating towards the water. More people gravitating towards the air conditioned attractions too.
You know what else too? It's no, just keeping on that thought. Isn't the grand opening of the Hall of Presidents with Barack Obama supposed to be on the 4th?
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's essentially it's soft open.
Soft opening I think the 28th for pass holders, right. But the general opening I think is on July 4th. So that's going to be That's going to be on a regular day. That would have been a crowd.
Yeah, it would have been a crowd.
Forget July 4th. Yeah. So if you're really looking to get to the Magic Kingdom, you want to get there early.
So the go back and look at the wiki episode. Look at the wiki for the episode that we have on good places to rest inside each of the parks, and definitely print out that list and take it with you, or download the podcast to your iPod and listen to it on the way over because there's definitely got some good tips there. Grab a drink, stay hydrated, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's a great tip, Len. Also, staying hydrated. Don't forget that at all the counter service restaurants, really, almost all of them, you can get a free cup of ice water. Yeah, and it sounds like a big deal, Matt. But really, in terms of staying hydrated, it's so important because it gets so hot, so humid that it's really important for you to be able to stay hydrated. So keep drinking, even if you don't think you need to drink. Just keep one with you, that cup of water that you can just sip on when you're just kind of idling, because I think it'll really make a huge difference between you don't want to get the water when you're dying. You want to avoid that whole situation to begin with.
Trust me, I know something about dehydration. And what I'm saying is if you wait till you're thirsty to start drinking, you've waited too long.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are some other tips that you guys can think about when we're talking about July 4th at the studios? I mean, at Walt Disney World, rather. Let's talk about here's something. In each of the parks, let's each of the three parks that are showing fireworks on July 4th, where would you eat dinner? Let's assume you don't have a ADR, a reservation somewhere. In the Magic Kingdom scope, where would you eat dinner?
You mean if I don't have a reservation? Well, I'm guessing that there's no way that I'm going to be able to do a walk-up. So my guess would be that I would look at Pecos Bills.
Pecos
Bills as a possibility. I'm thinking that, I would hope that at least on July 4th that the Noodle Station would be open. If that was the case, I'd give that a shot. But if not, I'd go to Pecos Bills, I believe.
So me, being the patriotic American that I am, I would stay with the Columbia Harbor House.
Ooh,
Plus, it's cooler upstairs. Anyway.
Okay.
I like.
Mike's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck, bro.
Good luck with that.
I like the I like the idea of Pecos Bills. I think that's a solid pick. Lots of space. I mean, that's what when Mike said that. I mean, lots of space for you. So you want the most capacity possible, certainly. What about Epcot?
I think Glenn said it. Sunshine Seasons would be the first place I would look for. Although I'd give Morocco a shot.
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew that I was going to say that, right?
Nothing says July 4th like shish kebabs
and curry. Nothing like shish kebab and curry on the 4th of July.
It's just like us to be international on the 4th of July. To think about our neighbors, global neighbors. I mean.
At the studios, I'm going to go probably with, I'm thinking Backlot Express.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I'd go with that too, Matt, because it's sort of out of the way, and I don't know if many people would look to that as being an option right off the bat. So
isn't it outdoors, though? No, I'm thinking of studios.
Some of it is.
It's partial. It does have some, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. It's going to be hot. Hat's
going to be hat.
Yeah. If you want, the other good alternative is ABC Commissary. That's all, nearly all air there. Cool. Well, certainly, I think that covers. The basics of it. Give yourself plenty of time, lots of water, and let's put it this way: if you're getting to 6, 7 o'clock, and your family is dragging, you have to kind of evaluate things here and say, how much is it worth it to really see the fireworks from the park? You might want to have to call an audible and just, it's better to leave at 7, not see the fireworks, but have a happy family, than have to, if you're going to feel like sardines and suffer. For at 6 o'clock, you're still looking at another 3 or 4 hours before the fireworks start. So really, keep that in mind. Well, that's going to do it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.